Now, Russia, it's complicated, is it not? I mean, they've had an appalling 4 years in some ways. They've lost, I don't know how many people to this war, but they've expanded their country. They are now embraced by Xi and now by Modi. Their economy was not destroyed by sanctions, as everyone said it would. I mean, crushing. It's going to crush them. Au contraire. Well, I'm not. A lot of people did, though, if you remember. And now the United States is essentially saying, we want to reward you with giving you parts of Ukraine, and we're not going to give a NATO guarantee to Ukraine. So where do you think Putin is right now? Where do you think he thinks he is?
Putin's running a fascist regime. I mean, it's a proper fascist regime. It has all the key characteristics: control of the media, routine violence, incarceration and murder of political opponents, does all the real fascist stuff with a kind of, hokey historical nostalgia to propel the populace along. But it's also kind of end of empire, really. It's that these are the death throes of Russia's empire, the last, really, of the great empires of the 18th and 19th century. And so what we're really seeing is how pathetically weak Russia now is, that it can't actually overrun Ukraine. It couldn't even get halfway. It's a kind of quarter way to overrunning Ukraine, and it can't win despite having a massive manpower and economic advantage. So the really impressive thing is that this war is still going on after 3 years, and they're really no further to victory. They're no closer. I spoke yesterday with an old friend, a war correspondent, very experienced, just been out a lot to the front line, and he described the extent to which the war keeps shape-shifting. It's now not an artillery war. It's not really an infantry war. It long ago stopped being an armor war. It's a drone war, more and more a drone war. And a drone war is a war that is really hard for the Russians to win, and the Ukrainians can actually hold the line in a drone war, because it's really just a matter of can you build enough drones, and do you have enough people to keep technologically ahead? That compensates for Russia's superior manpower and economic resources. So the war is really hard to win for Putin at this point. On the other hand, he still thinks he can. I mean, he's just assuming that in the end, the superior resources, the superior manpower should prevail. And so why would he settle? I mean, there's just no good deal on the table for him, because he doesn't care about additional square miles. It's not about that at all. And it's naive to think that there's some kind of territorial deal to be done here, because the goal of Russia is to render Ukraine not viable as an independent state, just to break it. He doesn't need all the territory to achieve that. He just needs Ukraine to be uninvestable. And that's not the deal that's being offered. So I think Alaska was a charade, because there was not even the beginning of a meaningful common ground between Russia and Ukraine.
When I'm told that those parts of Donetsk that are currently in contention, that those regions contain critical industrial centers for the entire country of Ukraine, and it would be economically tough for them to continue indefinitely with a real balanced economy without that part of the country. Is that overstated?
It's like saying South Korea wouldn't be viable without North Korea after 1953. Actually, much of the Donbass is kind of Rust Belt. There are some resources there, but Ukraine's future is not, heavy industry. It's having a dynamic market economy which takes advantage of its very, very good agriculture and its pretty young, smart population who are technologically savvy enough to win a drone war, or at least fight a drone war to a tie with the Russians. So I think
this is going to be another stalemate forever, like North Korea. I think
the best outcome for the Ukrainians is a Korean outcome where they remain viable despite having a nasty neighbor and a very dangerous border. If that can be achieved, and I've said this to Zelensky's people all along, you want to be South Korea in this out. You're not going to get that land back. You're not going to get Crimea back. But if you can be a viable, independent, democratic state, which would be actually better since South Korea wasn't democratic to begin with. If you can be viable, that's success. And failure is being South Vietnam, where you are led by Western support into a position where you settle, but you're ultimately not able to defend yourselves. And I think at this point, the South Korean outcome still seems attainable. But I would say the key thing not to lose sight of is how weakly and poorly Russia has performed. Remember, although the CIA got the timing right, it thought that Ukraine would collapse and they'd have to fly Zelensky out, and here we are. And the Russians have suffered stunning casualties. I mean, they were suffering monthly what the US was losing annually at the height of the Vietnam War earlier this year. So it is an extraordinary kind of failure, and the brute force approach that Putin has taken has cost many young Russian men their lives. I think the interesting thing is looking beyond Putin to where Russia goes. I love the fact that Putin and Xi were comparing notes on how many organ transplants could give them immortality. These old bastards are going to die, and I'm going to throw a party each time